Madam Speaker, this country certainly will gain a lot from this report or from these motions laid by the Honorable Minister of Defense. It has indicated the financial benefits and amendment protocols, number one, with regards to the financial benefit that the country will gain. Yes, the long-standing relation between Turkey and Gambia, Madam Speaker, since 1990 to 1991 to date, I think the stand that this parliament take and the committee, if it was done in that way, the issue of ratification would have not arisen. Now, these two remaining motions that were not ratified, we met with the minister and the team, and the minister's deputy permanent secretary was able to go to Turkish embassy to dig out all this information. He didn't stop there. He went up to the Foreign Office to make sure that some of all this information that we required are brought to the committee. They went up to the Minister of Defense, and some of the agreements signed by our former presidents were also produced, which, of course, we, as a committee, we had photocopy of all these things. That helped us to push this report and then come up with a report within 7 days that is certainly will help this country. Honorable Speaker, I think, let me not take the time of the House. I will seize the opportunity to thank the honorable members for their participation, and of course, the new Minister of Defense and his team, because without cooperation, their cooperation, no matter how committee wants to pursue this matter, without their cooperation, this thing would have not materialized. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I thank you very much, and I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
I have Honorable Member for Central Badibu on the list, but he's not here. So any more interventions? Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor.
On this side, sorry, somewhere.
I will be very brief. I also want to join my colleagues to thank the committee for the work well done, and I think they are so passionate with their work. Defense and security, I've been monitoring their activities over the last 2.5 years, and then the work that they are doing are very great. I really want to talk about the support that the Turkish government is going to give in terms of providing equipment. But I want to throw this to the defense minister. A lot has been said about the building of a training academy in the Gambia. And I think that is very key. This is something that you need to put in the plan. When you mention here, Major Ken Wright and Meg are very good friends of mine. I've worked with them for 10 years as the Gunjur Morbolo Ring, because they came here to train the Gambia Army. But at the end of their tour of duty, they have seen the Gambia as their home. Major Ken Wright and Meg have been coming to the Gambia, and they really helped the Gunjur Marlboro Link to establish these kind of training programs and ensuring that we have institutions that are going to build the capacity of our youth. So I also want you to maybe contact the new CDS who is going on tour just to visit Demban Skills Training Center in Demban. That was built by the Army Engineering team. Not to talk of Mayok Senior Secondary School and Sifo Senior Secondary School in Kombosa. All those institutions were built by the Army. But go there and visit and see them and look at the structures, the architectural work that is being done there. So I think we have a lot of capacity. When they are built, we can sustain these programs and it will continue. And I also want to agree with the member for Woolley East, who had talked about the maintenance and upkeep of our soldiers if we send them to a foreign land. Because when you are in a foreign country, you need to be able to have all the support so that you are able to concentrate on the work that you are going to do. And these learning processes will also enable them to learn about the best skills that they can come and then come and implement in the Gambia here. So I think this exchange of people from one area to another area First, it helps you to understand the settings, cultures, and one of them in context. When you come there, it helps you very well. So I think on that note, Honorable Speaker, I really want to thank the committee for the good work that they have done, and I will fully support the ratification of these agreements with the Turkish government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Later, Kunda Sabiji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Let me also join the rest of the members to thank the Standing Committee on Defense and Security for the job well done. Though the time given to them was very short, but they are able to report to us. And then looking at the topic that we're discussing about, that's on the ratifications of the instrument between the Republic of Turkey and the Republic of the Gambia. They've come up with the justifications for ratifying this document. And looking at these justifications, they are very, very clear and very, very straightforward. And looking at it, they told us that this is a win-win situation for the country when, as far as the military is concerned. So this committee, the committee did a great job, and we hope all the other committees also will follow suit. Honorable Speaker, notwithstanding, also we can just make a little bit reference to all level. We expect everybody to take part. We don't expect people to, debate a report at the committee level just to come to the plenary of the parliament and tell us that I'm not supporting this. Inputs of the people are important in the committee, because this is what we have just realized. Member of a committee, for instance, let me just go to the public appointment standing committee. There are people in that committee that agreed at the level of the committee just to come to the plenary of the parliament and say, no, I'm not part of this. I think those are type of ideas, those ones are not important. What we need here is that at the plenary, at the floor of the committee.
Honorable, with all due respect, can you restrict your intervention? Can you, let's
Honorable Speaker, I'm taking a reference to the motion.
Sorry, can you just allow me to land? I mean, we need to expunge that bit about the public accounts, public appointments committee. We are dealing with the Committee on Defense and Security. Now let us restrict our intervention, the debate on the report of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Well, this is what we want, committees that are very effective and very, very efficient. And then every member of the committee, it's not a matter of just be signing money and then collecting money from the committee. But we should all take part in the committee meetings. I think that's important. That is why you are representing the committees. We don't expect people to be the committee just to come to the plenary of the parliament and say that I'm not part of this. I think that is not fair. Thank you.
As I said, we'll have to expunge that from the records. Yeah. Thank you. Honorable nominated member Neyasin, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I will start my intervention. It will be somehow brief, but I would like to start it by commending the committee, because really they did justice to this consolidated motion. So I wanted explanation on page 12, the last paragraph, where they're talking about where they concluded and talking about recommendation. Yes, they say about talking about recommendation, because yes, recommendations. You know, they are recommending these recommendations that they made. I want to include that the army also should be protected, because the army, they protect us. So we also should make sure that we come up with mechanisms where you know that they also will be protected. Look at when the armed robbers come in the country and they do whatever. The army, they cannot intervene. Why? Because they don't have the necessary tools or the necessary equipment to be able to do their work. So I think they also need protection. And I always say that, well, health and security is everybody's business, because this is what we need. If we are healthy and we have good security, the army, the security will help us, and there will be mechanisms that will put in place for them to be able to do their work properly without any problem. Because sometimes you see them also having problems. you listen to what is happening. They also have problems, really. And these are really things. It should be vice versa. If we say that we need the army to protect us, we also should make sure that we come up with mechanisms to be able to protect them. Thank you very much. We motivate them as well. Protect and motivate them. Sometimes in the Gambia, it's just sad to say, but what is in us is that we think that the army, they are our enemy. And they are not our enemies. We live together with them, and they are also helping us. Maybe what was in them we should try by all means to make sure that those things are out, and gone are those days. So for me, I would like the mover to elaborate more on the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Central Body Group. We called about 3 or 4 times, but we were out.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to thank the mover of the motion and the committee for the effort done. Madam Speaker, my only doubt is the signing of the agreement since as far back as 1990 and 91. So the protocol is not in place, or its effectiveness was not realized. So I want the mover to elaborate more on that. What were the hurdles? What we are responsible for that? And Madam Speaker, and why the need for such kind of cooperation at this material time? And can't we tap other resources from Turkey rather than military support? Because I, for one, military is good, because we have seen to read that, to defend our country, our sovereignty, and to support us with military equipment, like goggles and things like that. But I think the world in general, we should move from being more military minded than having other solutions to the problems. Because as far as these weapons of mass destruction are concerned, it's the military, who are using them. And sometimes we see how human rights are abused with the use of those equipment. And Madam Speaker, we have to, I want the mover to tell us, what is the stand of Turkey in terms of human rights is concerned in the world? Do they have a good record in terms of human rights? And why are we, trying to have a military, relationship with them? Would that not affect our relationship with other countries, particularly, your former colonizers? So is it a form of a, please, Madam Speaker, Honorable Member of Bassi is distracting me. Please allow me to make my points. Madam Speaker, I know our time is not on our side, members want to go, but I want the mover to tell us more, and why are we going for Turkey? Yes, we know that we are going to get a lot of benefit. And it has been also made mention that Gambia will also benefit. But how are we going to benefit? Buying equipment from them? So is that the only benefit that Gambia can derive? Can we go, and find in detail why Turkey wants this relationship to go ahead? Because they are given the fund, and we are using the fund, and the fund, we have to purchase their arms from them. So to me, during the purchase of the arms, should that be the only benefit that Turkey can get from this relationship? I want to see more benefits to come. Madam Speaker, I want to applaud the committee by scrutinizing the amendment, and the further scrutiny that they have gone through to see that the evidence been put forward. And I think the recommendations made by them, they are sound recommendations, that we need to closely look at. And yes, Madam Speaker, in the articles, Article 4, with your permission, I can read. Article 4 deals with the guidelines for implementation of the agreement, including the preparation of prioritized project proposals concerning foreign military assistance extending 2 years as well as annual outlays. So these prioritized project proposals concerning military assistance, so will it be broadened to encompass like the agricultural aspect, whether militaries can get some agricultural support in order to engage in that area. And the other one is there is a point where the countries, Article, I don't know whether you call it 5V, restrict usage rights for the goods and services purchased through the financial agreement. No transfer to the third parties is allowed without the prior consent of Turkey. Facilities should be used against the interests of security and territorial integrity of other states. Fine, that article also is a strong article which also protects the relationship between the two. But I'm searching for the other one where you have the principle of confidentiality. Now, I want the mover to throw more light on this confidentiality, because what I don't understand is it that anything militarily, if it is a confidence matter, should be limited to only Turkey and Gambia, or why not Gambia? If it is something that is welcoming, why not Gambia to share that those good practices with other countries? So I don't see the reason of emphasizing that confidentiality here. So, Madam Speaker, I don't have much to say, but these are some of the observations that I make, and I want to know why Turkey in particular. And Turkey, what mind do they have in terms of international cooperation? Why do they want to come to Gambia and have such a kind of a military cooperation or relationship? Thank you.
Any more interventions? No? Thank you very much. I'll now call on the Honorable to respond to the issues that have been raised and wind up the debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The members have largely given support to the work done by the committee. And the committee, as the chair rightly said, did work diligently to ensure that we meet the deadline that we promised the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I'll start from the last intervention, which talks about Turkish-Gambian relation. Hopefully the executive will explain that, because they are the one who negotiated, and they are the one who must determine the conduct of international relations. This National Assembly has the responsibility for ratification. And Honorable Speaker, the committee is actually doing your work. It is the National Assembly that assigned the committee the responsibility of scrutinizing a financial agreement that is laid by the executive. So in actual fact, it will not be fair for the mover to give a personal opinion on Gambia-Turkish relation, because a personal opinion may be very diverse from what is the position of the executive at this moment. So I hope the member will understand that probably my personal views will be fundamentally, diametrically opposed to what the state may hold as the basis for its foreign policy. So what is a fact is that since the First Republic, Turkey and the Gambia has developed this relationship of military cooperation and assistance in training as well as equipping Gambian forces. That is the fact. And what we are out to do is to look at the instruments, and of course you have raised questions regarding the instrument. The one is confidentiality. What they are actually saying is that Gambia will purchase goods and services from Turkey. And if Gambia purchases these goods, they include military hardware. And in some instances, you have ownership of certain, let's call them inventions, and ways and means of handling them. And in some instances, they want to protect what they have actually provided and would not want that to be given to a third party. That's what confidentiality means. It means that what they have decided to share by way of technology, science, and training, they will not pass it on to others. So would the executive want that type of relationship? And would we ratify an instrument just excluding that particular conception? I think these are issues that we can look at. Under normal circumstances, we must understand what Turkey wants. The member has also mentioned in terms of broadening the relationship. Well, we may call the Minister of Foreign Affairs regarding Gambia-Turkey's relation. Maybe it is not simply military. Sometimes the military component is just one of the components. So we should be able to review that. Maybe Foreign Affairs will look into that. What is the basis of Gambia-Turkey relation in other domains other than the military? As he has rightly said, the objective is to create a world where we do not focus on war. That should be the agenda. Here, what we are told and what we are putting before you is that the immediate interest of the government of the Gambia is to enable its troops to go into peacekeeping, because the gain has been immense to the soldiers, that because of the poor income that is derived from national salaries, soldiers have been able to, and other personnel, have been able to complement their income by going peacekeeping, and we are told that they have built houses and driving taxis to get extra income by virtue of peacekeeping mission. And it seems that the state does not want to lose that. So clearly none of us would want war. It is immoral for war to continue. What we should anticipate is a world where there is peace, but apparently that is not the case. And apparently what is in for the Gambia is to be equipped so that they will be able to go on peacekeeping mission. That is fundamentally the gain. There is absolutely no doubt that, well, Turkey will also gain from the relationship because you are purchasing military hardware, and if there is wear and tear, who do you go to? Well, you must also go back to them if you have the money. If the relationship breaks, then you may not be able to replenish your hardware. So I don't know whether I have answered the basic questions, but that is how far I can go with that question. Honorable Speaker, going to the issue raised by the member for Lower Nyomi has gone. So I will go to the issue raised by Woolly East, the member for Woolly East. And the member for Woolly East did raise the issue in the agreement where it is emphasized that, that is Article 9, paragraph 5, in case the protocol ends for any reason, the allocated but not used resource shall be returned to the Treasury of the Republic of Turkey without considering the notification date. Well, as you can see, the two governments are relating in all sovereignty on the basis of equality. And as a result, termination can come anytime. So if millions fall into the hands of the government and then deliberately the government terminate the agreement, what should happen to the money from the other side? I think that is the issue. So really is clearly in line. Do we disagree with that? That if somebody gives you something and you terminate an agreement, that you should refund. That is really what it is saying. I believe they are securing their funds so that you do not unilaterally break away and then go with their money. That appears to be just to me. I don't know. He's raised the issue of the borders. Well, clearly our mandate is restricted to scrutinizing the instruments of ratification that were put before us, the instruments, the agreements that were put before us for ratification. That is the scope of our work. The agreement goes into implementation, and that's why our recommendation is that we should be more involved than that, not just ratify instruments. That's why that recommendation at the end, which the chair of the Standing Orders Committee would also hopefully look at, so that we prepare procedures for ratification and include not only the procedures to process the instrument, but thereafter, what happens, so that they will be accountable to Parliament for reporting, annually on those instruments regarding implementation. I believe that this is where we can have input to ensure that the instruments that we ratify would actually serve the purpose for which they are ratified. But what could be done to expand agreements in terms of training, in terms of preparing? Well, that is where the policy comes. And we've said that, according to the minister, they are moving towards restructuring as well as modernization. So we should push to have an army which is accountable to the people, an army which defends the people. That is really the only justification for having an army in a sovereign republic. I am sure that all of us will stand for that, and all of us should observe and see that the committee, as an oversight committee, will move in that direction and accompany the state towards that restructuring. But it is dependent on the state how far it will go with that restructuring. And that's what democracy is all about. A state may be committed to certain principles, it may not be committed to certain principles, but the people will always take a state to task. And that is why you have elections, that is why governments are changed to ballot box. So essentially we are here not to talk about the state in general from an idealistic point of view, but we are talking about our work now. The state as it exists, the government as it exists has its policies. And we as National Assembly members are here to ensure that our role is performed. We must ratify agreements. So if the agreements are brought to us, we examine them from the perspective that we have done to see that it is in the interest of the country. And that is the purpose here embedded in our presentation. Well, I will just mention the issue of Lower Nyomi. He mentioned that at page, yes, he said that we are dealing with the law. Now, in quotation, the law, page 5, he is wondering why at page 6. At page 5, okay, at the beginning of 4.1, paragraph 4.1, the law, we said that section 79, subsection 1A and C. He's wondering why we have not put B. In terms of A and C, the quotation, well, essentially, these are the relevant paragraphs in the section, and that's what we have quoted. So we just quoted the relevant section. So it's not actually putting them direct quotation of the whole section. We're just quoting the relevant section. And Honorable Speaker, it appears that Combo North did mention, Birkama North did mention the typos. There are many. And obviously we'll go into them we will try to clean up all the dots and the T's that should be there. He's also complemented basically the work that has been done. The Birkama South did indicate issues of the border. Well, if you look at page 11, that is the emphasis that we are also trying to make. And we are emphasizing that there is need. The Gambia government has interest in purchasing goods and services to acquire the military equipment necessary to be battle ready to defend national sovereignty, territorial integrity, national unity, peace and stability in the Gambia as the core mandate. So that's what they're supposed to do. And that is what we anticipate would be done. But we must also bear in mind that we are dealing with the African continent and the need for the unification of the continent and Africa without borders, and Africa where ultimately we will not have these narrow nationalist tendencies and have armies and security forces alien to the defense of human rights of the people. So we should anticipate to build countries and systems that will serve to defend the interests of the people, where there will be mutual interest in defending the life and security of our people. I believe, Honorable Speaker, these are the core issues. Well, the member for Nyamina East did mention the issue of sustainability. Well, that should be the objective of every government, to move into being self-reliant. But we cannot just rely on hope. That has to be done concretely in how you shape and build economies. So that is a bigger question, taller order than what we were asked to do, or what we are confined to do under the current order, with all the challenges and how to address those challenges. That is precisely what we sought to do, to see whether this agreement is in the interest of the Gambia, and the fundamental question is, does it derogate from our sovereignty? And our position is that where an agreement is terminable on both sides, anytime, then no one can impose any conditionality on the other. So in that regard, we believe that we can enter this agreement, and wherever you believe that it is not serving the interests of the country, you can always dissolve the agreement. So in that sense, nothing ties us in the agreement. That is why the members agree that this is the way to go. I don't know whether there is any issue that I have not addressed, but Honorable Speaker, that is the key thing for us, that the two agreements that were tabled have already been ratified. There are two agreements which are yet to be ratified, and our focus is to ratify those two agreements. That is the recommendation of the committee.
Thank you very much. You know, they were before we were consolidated. Honorable Member for Serekunda, yes, I'm saying that the motion for the 4 agreements were consolidated.
Exactly.
That's why we will refer to them. But in your report, you dealt with only 2.
Yes.
So the Honorable Minister has also given us notice that he intends to withdraw the other 2. I think he must have consulted you.
Yes.
So at the appropriate time,
yes,
he will move a motion to withdraw those 2 agreements, and it will amount to an amendment of the original motion. So the 2 agreements will stand, but they will still be consolidated.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is the position.
Yes, thank you.
We have already consulted, and that's what we recommend for them to do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Minister, can we take your response? Thank you very much. To respond to the issues raised.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. The military is a symbol of pride of any country, any civilized country around the world, and the Gambia is no exception. I want to start quickly to respond to, somebody asked, honorable member, plans to replace existing mechanism. Yes, if you look at the security sector reforms, there are provisions to start moving away from dependability. How we do that, that's why we're here to do the job. So there are plans to be self-reliant, as the Honorable said, to always start thinking of always hand and trying to see what you can do for yourself. As the saying goes somewhere in the United States, there is no free lunch. If you see a country doing something, countries have interests, whether they tell you or not. And the Gambia also is no exception. We have our interest. But that is also being put in mind that there is a very popular saying in the armed forces, what is called anticipation at all levels. We will also anticipate, whilst we have our friendship with Turkey, at some stage where we can also be on our own based on what the Gambia needs. We are working on a Gambian template, not what any other country does. We may listen and look at other countries, but what does the Gambia need? What can the Gambia afford? We're going to cut our coat according to our size, inshallah. People talked about military academy, honorable members. It's in the pipeline. We've already got lots of designs that were forwarded us. There is one sitting right now on my table. If you get to the office, you'll sign it in a big envelope from GAMWorks and from. So we are looking at avenues of trying to get an academy of excellence. That anywhere in the world, if you have an armed forces, is synonymous to having a staff college or an academy, for example, because that's what we need. These are some of the problems we have inherited. So we are trying to fix those things. It was since the First Republic. It's not believable that the Gambia, with its reputation around the world, that do not have an academy. We are well respected around the world. I can tell you that wherever the Gambia Armed Forces go, and you talk to those people, they're well respected. That's why in any peacekeeping area they go, they always want them to take care of the headquarters. Whether it was in Liberia or Darfur, anywhere, they want the Gambian contingent to protect the headquarters of that organization, because of our troops have always been very professional, very dependable, and reliable. And the quick one is when we had a company that were protecting the free port in Monrovia. And there was a general called Arnold Quino, who was the first Ghanaian general. And some things went wrong. He was replaced by ECOWAS presidents when Sadada was chairing. And they nominated a man by the name of Joshua Nimiel Dogoyaro. And when he came to Monrovia, I was then company commander. I withdrew the guard, and he gave me ultimatum by midnight that I have to restore that guard because he prefers to have the Gambian contingent. And he had Nigerian divisions, brigades, Ghanaian, Sierra Leone, Guinea. People were there, but he chose our people, and we're still proud of that. So we are in a process of all putting in place to have at least an academy to start with, And we are working with Turkey and some of our partners to get there. We've talked about to visit Ndemban, Mayok, and Sifo, honorable member. The CDS is on tour, and I'm sure he wanted me around with him, but when the National Assembly calls, everybody should stop. But I'm sure we're going to go. I was part of the team that was building the primary healthcare in Pakalinden in 1982 when I was a private soldier. So we are very proud with the Army Engineering Squadron, and they can do a good job if they are given the opportunity. And part of our plans is to empower them and to motivate them, like some of the honorable members said. Honorable member talked about the border issues. They want the armed forces to move. Sometimes it will not work like that. The armed forces will move on very clear instructions, and it is not anybody who can get up and move an armed force. There are mechanisms. The Ministry of Local Government has committees, border committees, the Senegalo-Gambian Secretariat. There are lots of other instruments before you engage an armed force around a border, because so please, we are equally worried, and I think today the CDS will be visiting Dasilami, because he was in Bullock last night when he was completing his tour from the North Bank region to the URR, and he was in the Fonyis from Monday. So it means today he should be in Dasilami. Border problems can be solved. We had a second presidential commission in Dakar on the 12th of March, and then the agreement was to come back and start addressing these border issues, because His Excellency President Barrow raised it very strongly, and they wanted to have closure on it. But that's when the pandemic hit, and we all got locked down. But they're already prepared to address this issue, and they get the necessary commissions to get. People talked about security. Of course, it's everybody's business, different types of security: human security, economic security, health security, agriculture. So security is holistic. So that's why we're all very careful and make sure we do the right thing, and not to be diverted by logistic constraints. When the armed forces move, or even the security services, there are constraints. The Gambia is a poor country. The defense is very expensive. When you want to move a boat to go for a few hours of patrols, you're talking about 400 or 500 liters just on a trip. That's about 2 big barrels of. When you want to move the armed forces, you need to calculate their feeding, the ammunition, their weapons, their transportation there. So it's a very expensive business, and we need to just do it properly and calculate. But we are the guys, our men and women are out there doing their best. A few weeks ago, I visited Garawal Kuta, the first time I got in that part of the country, and our men are there on 50 degrees, both men and women, on duty at night when maybe most of us are sleeping. Our brothers and sisters out there trying to do their best for the country, and we will continue to encourage them. We've talked about Turkey relationship. Why Turkey? Turkey has a long-standing relationship with this great country since the times of Saddam. And Turkey, I think, also were really motivated with the attitude and dependability of Gambia. The Gambia has always been consistent. We've never been wavering. And I think Turkey looks like they fell in love with the attitude and the professionalism of the politicians. They've worked very strongly with them. The Gambia has supported Turkey in very difficult times where some countries never would support them. So now I think part of it is they're very patient with us, because during tough times we were there for them, and they can trust us. Please be informed that a lot of our senior officers in the Gambia Armed Forces were trained in Turkey since the time of the Gendarmerie in 1983. A lot of officers you hear from Gendarmerie, they were in Turkey. Some of us were not lucky to be there. We went to Pakistan or the UK, but a lot of our colleagues, and they're still benefiting. We have people in their hospitals right now, cadet officers, training as a doctor. We have several people trained, and in fact now a lot of our folks speak Turkish because of our interaction with them. The engineering squadron, we talked about it. I think when we give them the task to rehabilitate, like honorable member says, on our buildings, is in the pipeline. We're selling that idea to the leadership so that we will use our engineers. They have built high schools in Mayock, and they've done a good job. So instead of leaving them back, we have to promote our own, to support our own people, and that has been lacking in this country. We never hailed our people. So we want to change that trajectory and that rhetoric, that we should say thank you to our people, but we should also give them the due that they deserve. Rather than use somebody until they retire, you dump them, and they'll be walking in the streets. I think that's most unfortunate. We want to change that in the armed forces. That's why we have built the Veterans Association. Those who have retired, like some of us, were part of that group, veterans. And anywhere in the world, there is in our Ministry of Defense, if we set up, there will be an office for Veterans Office. And they will have access also to participate in peacekeeping and doing other things. So, honorable members, we are benefiting immensely. As I said, we can send our troops go to Ghana and Nigeria and Pakistan and Fort Benning, Infantry Officers Basic Course. In Texas, Infantry Officers Advance, Fort Gordon for the Signal Course, Fort Knox, Fort Bragg in North Carolina. We have a lot of Gambians who are trained in all those facilities. So it's not only Turkey that we're sending our folks. Actually, as we speak, after these borders are officially open, the Ghana has already offered us to send our folks to staff collect, because they have very reputable staff collects, as honorable. Some of us, we had opportunity in 1993 to have training in Jaji at the Commandant General Staff College in Nigeria. Actually, there is a general right here who was my classmate in 1983. He's been sent here by ECOWAS to help in the security sector reform. So our guys are doing, both male and female, they're doing very well. And finally, these are some of the, if I have missed anything, I do apologize if somebody wants to remind me of something that I have not covered. Darfur is closing in August, inshallah, but Turkey wants to equip a full battalion. Peacekeeping is a business, honorable members. The United Nations will give you a form to fill in, and they will tell you the requirements, what kind of vehicles you need, what kind of medical equipment, what uniform, everything. And they reward that country immensely. So now, whichever country, and Gambia is on top list, they want Gambia to participate because of the record. So Darfur is closing, but they want Gambia not to be redundant. They have offered us, I think, a 250-man place, and they're looking at where to fit it in. And we are gathering the equipment. And after we fill the forms, we send it to New York, which we've already done, to tell them that, yes, we can afford this. And it looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel that they will give the Gambia. And our people will not sit here. They'll have exposure. They'll go around the world. Also, to change the perception of the armed forces is also part of the SSR. Instead of just sitting like an army waiting, there will be no, we pray for the ever and ever, there will be no war. And fighting with who? Our threat is not a conventional warfare. Our threat is obvious. It's internal security, civil disobedience, civil disorders, sabotage, protection of KPs, VPs. That's a different ball game. And that's why Ministry of Interior will be in the front when those things happen. The army will always be, we will just pray that we keep them to defend the pride of this country. But when we need them for disasters, or to build schools, or to do research, like Honorable said the other time, we are going to change the perception of the regular conventional armed forces. Now we have lots of graduates in the army, lots of doctors, lawyers, nurses. During our time, it was only, I think, one doctor in the army, Major Njai, who was once, Minister of Health. There were about 2 people who had bachelor's degree when we were in the army. Now, some of the young officers have their masters, and some. So we're very proud of what we've got, but now we have to build up their wisdom and experience. You can have 5 PhDs. If you come to the army, you will start as a recruit. That's the armed forces. So that's why when they were talking about qualification, it's very good. And as the honorable member said, however qualified you are, go to the best universities around the world. When you enter that camp, you go back to zero. Private soldier, recruit. And then people that never been to completed their college will tell you what to do and teach you things that you've never known in your life. That's, in conclusion, that's why I want to say, I will never forget when we graduated in 1984 at the Royal Military Academy, the first thing the sergeant will tell you, do not go back to your battalions and think that you know it all. Yes, you are a second lieutenant. You are just starting the war. You will see some sergeant and sergeant majors in the battalion. Give them their respect because they've been there for a long time. That's why we're very careful. When young officers want to be we just tell them to calm down because honorable members, honorable speaker, I thank you very much. And
thank you very much. I think the proper procedure is for us to take his motion before we put the question. Thank you.
Motion. Agreements between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on military cooperation. Honorable Speaker, I beg to withdraw the following two agreements between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on military cooperation. One, agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation in military field of training, technique, and science, signed on 5th May 1999. Number two, Amendment Protocol Number 1, agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation in military field of training, technique, and science, signed on the 22nd June 2012. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move to maintain my earlier submission that this August Assembly will consider and ratify the other two agreements between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government Republic of the Gambia on military cooperation signed in 2019 as follows. One, the implementation protocol regarding the financial assistance agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation signed on the 22nd May 2019. Number two, the military financial cooperation agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia signed on the 22nd May 2019. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much. That it amounts actually to an amendment to the motion that was earlier tabled. Any seconder? Law Salum, sorry, was the one who... No,
actually, I have the observation first. I think I have an observation before seconding the motion.
Observation?
Yes.
What is the observation?
Yeah, I think the Honorable Member for Seregunda lay a report. I think before adopting the motion of the Honorable Minister, I think by procedure purposes, we adopt the member for Lower Salem, for Seregunda reports, I think.
Coming to that, probably you were not following the debate, but I did consult actually with the Honorable Member for Serekunda, and it's proper before we proceed to taking the votes, we hear the motion because it's essentially what is contained in their report is the withdrawal. Thank you. Are you seconding the motion?
Then I rise to second the motion.
You rise to second the motion. Thank you very much. Now I put the question. I'm sorry. It has been moved and seconded that the agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation in military field of training, technique, and science, signed on the 5th of May, 1999, and the Amendment Protocol Number 1, agreement between the government of the Republic of Turkey and the government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation in military field of training, technique, and science, signed on the 22nd June 2020, be withdrawn. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Those two agreements are hereby withdrawn, and yes, now we go on to the question on the report that was tabled and debated by the honorable members of the House. I now put the question. Sorry. Yes. Be it resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Defense and Security for the Assembly to ratify the consolidated motions by the Honorable Minister of Defense. 1. Implementation protocol regarding the financial assistance agreement between the Government of the Republic of Turkey and the Government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation, signed on the 22nd of May, 2019. And 2. The military financial cooperation agreement between the Government of the Republic of Turkey and the Government of the Republic of the Gambia, signed on the 22nd of May, 2019. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. I wish to thank everybody. So, thank you very much, and I now put the question on the motion. Be it resolved that this Honorable Assembly do ratify the consolidated motions tabled by the Honorable Minister for Defense on the implementation protocol regarding the financial assistance agreement between the Government of the Republic of Turkey and the Government of the Republic of the Gambia on cooperation, signed on the 22nd of May, 2019, and 2, the military financial cooperation agreement between the Government of the Republic of Turkey and the Government of the Republic of the Gambia, signed on the 22nd of May, 2019. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Once more, thank you very much, honorable members, and also honorable Minister. I know it's been a long day. I appreciate your commitment and cooperation. And on that note, we put the question, be it resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned till Wednesday, the 24th of June, 2020. I think we can, let's say 11 o'clock. Let's compensate for the time today at 11 o'clock. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it, so the Assembly now stands adjourned till Wednesday, the 24th of June, 2020 at 11 a.m. prompt. Once more, thank you very much.